All right, so welcome. My name is Scott Engler. I'm a published author and thought leader on contemporary job search strategies, really getting that job that is the best fit for you and professional development. So today I'm excited and honored to bring a podcast based on not only an article that I've written, but it happens to be one of, if not the number one thing I hear from people that are feeling frustrated with their current results for getting a new job. And it is attracting the right companies and not the toxic ones. So something that, as I've created different assessments for potential clients or just people I speak to, one of the biggest thing that is most often chosen when I ask what are a few of your biggest challenges and frustrations is that people will say that they are getting some opportunities and interviews, but they really are just not feeling like they are getting the right opportunities for them. They're feeling like, if they do get opportunities, it's not what they wanted. The company reaching out to them just doesn't feel like a fit. All sorts of stories that I get into in this article. And so what I hear is the same types of things, especially if someone is getting opportunities. A lot of times I work with people that currently have a job and they're just looking for other opportunities, or they may have recently got laid off, and so they're kind of in that transition. I keep hearing the same things over and over again from people, and it's like, the company calling them back, going on getting like 3 or 4 interviews and then only to find out that they hired internally, never hearing back from the company, having them seeming like hot and cold, like, the company will seem interested at first, they'll get an interview and then they just don't hear back at all. And so they're just like obsessing about this company that they never heard back from. They're feeling like they're, a lot of times I'll work with people more of the baby boomer generation. They're feeling like they're either overqualified or somehow underqualified. And there's just this disconnect, right? They're not feeling in alignment. They're not feeling like the opportunities they're getting really are that great. And even then, they're still pursuing opportunities that they probably didn't want in the first place when people are honest with themselves, but they just wanted something different. So that's really where, the value of what I do for people is to really get them that opportunity or that job that they really connect with. And not only that they really connect with, but where they can make the biggest contribution. So it works, it's like the highest good for both ends, right? So for the purpose of this podcast, based on the article, what I discussed is how when I was job searching, what the 4 things, when I look back and I said, what were the 4 things that I did that really, really shifted the results I was getting in my job search? Because there was, when I look back over the period of literally 3 years, when I was just hitting my head against a wall or experiencing tons of the same things that I hear all the time from companies, what did I do that really got me different results? And it was interesting because it wasn't necessarily like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this is going to happen. It was just that I made different changes, small changes, and followed through with them. And the results were just incredibly different, where I was having some of the best interviews of my life. I remember having like 2 interviews where they were close to changing their company policy to hire me. And because there was just such a good connection, and then there was another one where I actually got offered a job for something that I didn't even interview for. And that was awesome. And so anyway, here is the list of 4 things that when I look back, I was like, what did I really do differently where I started just seeing such incredible results? The first one was that I made a decision to get very clear about what I wanted and didn't want for my next job. Now, it helped, and I know we always want to avoid the pain or whatnot, but sometimes it really does help to see what we don't want over and over again so we understand better what we do want. So it wasn't enough for me to just kind of think about it. Like, I wrote it down. I took it from out of my head and what I thought, and I started to write it down. The second thing, part of that is that I started to learn from experts in the industry. I started to learn about what was realistic or just certain things that helped me get a better perspective, so it wasn't all about me and what I thought was right or wrong. I started to be more teachable, and then to really get clear and write down what I wanted and didn't want for the company, and what I was wanting to contribute, what I wanted to experience, just certain things. And based on the feedback I was getting or past jobs, like kind of pulling the things that I really liked from certain companies and also looking at the things I didn't like. So the second one was and this was an ongoing thing where I really reprogrammed myself in a way by choosing to practice, because I didn't do it perfectly, but practicing to focus on solutions and opportunities versus what I had been doing for so long, which was obsessing on problems and lack of results. So a quick example when I talk to job seekers all the time is this like scarcity mentality. It's like they're so stuck on this one company that they're like on the second interview or third interview, and they're like, I was supposed to hear back a week ago and I haven't, and I don't know why. And I call it like post, interview waiting anxiety, because it's so common. Is like, rarely if ever do I hear someone that is still actively pursuing other opportunities at that time. It's like they almost feel like just because they're on the second interview that they have to let go of any other option that they'd have just to focus on this. Look, getting a job is not like dating. And in some ways it is healthy to, not just be so attached to one person like before, just after one date. It may help to still look at your other opportunities. And so that's what I see from a lot of people, is just this like tunnel vision. And it really gets them in this negative rut because they're so focused on this one job and this fear of losing this job that they've completely disempowered themselves. Because really, what I find is when I've been the most empowered and when other people are, is to really create and continue to give yourself options. So even if you do have a good opportunity or it seems good, you never really know if that's going to be the best thing. So because of that, continue to look at other opportunities. Continue to just, at least, it's more of an energetic thing. It's more of, okay, I'm going to stay empowered by trusting that there can and will be other opportunities for me out there. So a lot of times when people have been in such a scarcity approach for so long, if they find one seemingly good company, they just want to hang on to it for dear life. So I guess my point with number 2 is, instead of obsessing about this and just focusing on that and hanging on for dear life, choose to see, wow, there was a good opportunity for me here. Let's take the good from this and trust that if there was one good thing, that it's a really, really big world, right? So to look at other opportunities that could be around me that I'm not seeing. That's the kind of mentality I'm talking about, and that transformation of really reprogramming the way you look at things. The third one, really challenging, but I can't tell you how empowering it was to say no to toxic companies, no matter how badly I wanted a different job or a new job, whatever. Saying no. And the example I give is, if you've been dating, and I use an example of a woman, and she just continues to attract these self-absorbed, manipulative guys or whatever that are verbally abusive, whatever the case is. I guarantee you at a certain point, she's gone that route so many times that if she begins to be more aware of what her patterns are, she will see the red flags, right? She'll start to see the red flags. And by having the awareness, because without the awareness, you're going to keep doing the same thing over and over. But when you do have the awareness, what I found was to say no, to stop it in its tracks, to stop making excuses for the companies like I was doing. It was like, oh, they're so busy and understaffed. It makes sense that they, got back to me 6 months later. Just making excuses is like, I don't care. And it's not that that may not be true. It's just that I don't want to get aboard a sinking ship. The same way with a woman that might be attracting these guys, some of them may think like, oh, well, he's had a rough childhood, or whatever they want to say that makes it okay for them to feel like they need to move on with this person. It's like, no, don't move on with this person because it's gonna take you down too. And that's the thing, to know where your weaknesses are, right? So I needed to have an awareness of where my tendencies and weaknesses were, and to say no. And what I found was the sooner I could nip it in the bud, the more honest I was. Like, I got to a place where I was so, well in tune with a toxic company that I could see it just by their job posting. Honestly, I could feel it, and I'm like when I was at my best, I would just not even apply in the first place, right? It's like if you were online dating, right? The best thing you could do to not go down that road is to just not engage in the first place. So that was a huge one. The fourth one was really taking that time to appreciate my progress and having outside support. So, of course, when it's anything new, if we've been getting a lot of things where it's like, this is something that I don't see as just an outside symptom. There are a lot of root reasons why people are continuing to attract these toxic companies and opportunities, or toxic guys, or whatever it is. So realizing the reality that this is not something that's going to change overnight, right? Because I tell people, look, we're all smart, and people, we all have our brilliance, but like, our best thinking got us to where we are. Our best thinking got us to attracting those people again, or companies. So knowing that we've had these deep-seated patterns, how do we appreciate our progress and not expect perfection, right? Because this is obviously an area for many of us, when we start to dig, that is very challenging to break through. So there's that component, and the second component of this is so crucial. You need support, outside support. And too often people are like, oh yeah, like, I'll talk to my sister or my friend or this person, or, I'll hear like, oh yeah, my sister's husband's boyfriend's girlfriend's daughter is a recruiter, so I'm just going to talk to them. So the truth is, I guarantee you that person is super busy and probably can't really spend that much time with you. The other truth is that people that haven't been through what you're going through and gotten to the other end aren't necessarily going to be the best support models. Now, certain situations may require other things, but a lot of times, unfortunately, even well-intentioned family and friends may hold you back. And that's what I found for myself, was it actually was worse when I was talking to friends that hadn't had any hardships with getting jobs. They'd had their job for the last 15 years, especially like my parents and their generation. They really didn't understand what I was going through because they didn't ever go through it. So it actually made it worse for me, because then I would feel ashamed that, why am I experiencing this, and is there something wrong with me? So what I would highly recommend is to get outside support, ideally from a professional and industry expert, or somebody else that's been a successful job seeker or are really on the same path as you. Like that's why I like Job Seeker Premium on LinkedIn, because if you stick with the winners and the people that really are focusing on the solutions and opportunities and looking to grow and change, versus just to complain and be really negative, then it's like anything else. If you stick with the winners, then you're going to win, and you support each other during that process. So that's what I got for you guys. I hope this is helpful. If you are interested in learning more from me, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Scott Engler, ENGLER. If you're interested in working together for a more comprehensive program for you specifically to really get some momentum in this area, you can email me, buildingyourownbrand@gmail.com. Once again, that's buildingyourownbrand@gmail.com. Thanks again, guys. Hope this is helpful. Take care.